Hey everyone, this is Jorge Soto and you're watching Startups Unedited.
This is Jorge Soto with Soto Ventures. Hope all is well. I'm actually based in Rio, Brazil right now, sitting down with Pedro Inada. Pedro,
Hi.
how you doing?
Fine, how are you?
Pretty good. Now, Pedro, you're the CEO and founder of GoGugi,
Yes.
based here in Rio, correct?
Right.
How's everything going?
Well, it's good. The beach is right over here.
I know.
Couldn't be there bad.
Totally. So we're at the Caesar Park Hotel, which is on Ipanema Beach. And if you see here, it's a beautiful, I don't know if you guys can see, it's a beautiful view. Although today we're talking about startups and technology. So Pedro, tell us a little bit about your background. I know you have an interesting story in that you were in finance before, and then you got into startups. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. Well, I'm 33 right now. I started my life in the financial area. Actually, the financial area chose me. I didn't actually choose it. But you know how things are. And after around 10 years over there, I had just had one certainty in my life that I didn't want to do that for the rest of it. So, I mean, time really passes quick. So I had to decide, and I decided just to do something new. I didn't have any idea what I was doing, but I was trying to figure it out. And after around 3 months, well, they hit me a question, and I wanted to pursue that question for about 10 months. I was really researching and digging inside, and well, then the project came out, and GoGugi started like that.
Yeah, and you were telling me earlier the story of you just sitting there asking yourself the question. The question was, why is there no like Amazon for services out there?
Right, yeah. The question was actually that, why I've never encountered like a website, or why didn't I know a website that was an Amazon service, somewhere that I could go there and buy a service. Well, and thinking about it, if there's a model out there that's a winner, it should be humongous. It's like around almost 3/4 of GDP on the world is service. So, I mean, if you could have like a small part of it, it would be really good. But I'm talking about like a horizontal marketplace, not a vertical. Like Uber is like a vertical marketplace, and Airbnb is a vertical marketplace. I'm talking about like a horizontal marketplace.
Absolutely, where a consumer could connect with a service provider, get recommendations from friends. They had that social layer that we were talking about before.
Right, yeah. Well, it started out like that, and then I realized, wait, after doing my study, I really saw that there are a lot of internet companies trying to be that. Well, but none of them have reached it, and can give you a lot of examples like Thumbtack, Angie's List, Freelancer, Fiverr. Well, there are tons. Nowadays, I think it's really big, this market, and
Sure.
And I think people are trying to get there.
So what is, maybe you can describe the product. I know you're still in beta today. You've run a couple different like alpha and beta programs. You built 1 or 2 MVPs. You were mentioning you're going to be releasing the product early 2016. Maybe you could describe a little bit about what the product looks like, how the user experience is. It is primarily mobile.
Yeah.
At this point.
Well, I mean, it's a really ambitious plan, but you have to start somewhere, and
which it should be.
Yeah. But we're starting out with something really simple. It wasn't really simple to get to this point, but actually our product now, it's just an address book. It's a kind of like a social address book, or an address book with service contacts you can share with anybody, your friends, people that you trust. And that's how we're starting it out, trying to build these connections with consumers and service providers.
And I've actually seen the beta. So for the viewers out there, you can actually download the application once it goes live, of course, out of beta, connect with either Facebook, your Facebook authentication, or an email address. It pulls in your information, kind of similar like WhatsApp, I think, in certain regards, where you can, it'll read your contact lists.
Right. I mean, the contacts, yes, and your friends we're pulling from Facebook. So there are 2 things. There's the users, which have their address book. We even call it address book. You build your address book, and then you have the contacts, which are the service providers. And well, it's just like Instagram, but instead of photos, there's contacts. That's like really simple. wrapping up the story.
Yeah. And then you can actually be able to look at recommendations from friends, look at previous experiences that users outside of your friend group as well have had with these service providers. Tell us a little bit about the team. I know you're 3 core early team members,
Right.
product manager, developer yourself, who's CEO and business folks, and then you have 2 other developers as well.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm not a tech guy. So my background is financial. So it was a really hard thing after I had like this idea and had to find these people to work with. And I found this old friend of mine, which is a website engineer, and this product manager, which worked with him. And well, we met, we discussed, and they really liked the story and everything. And once we had this project, we went to trying to find early investors, like family and friends. And I don't know how, but we got some money to start the company in January. And the team's already 5 now. Just got 2 other developers, and we work with a lot of outsourced, like our designer, marketing,
Mm-hmm.
and some of other developers are also outsourced. So trying to build a team small.
Totally. And you're going now for another family and friends angel round.
Right, yeah.
Shortly.
We have our MVP. It's actually already live only for some people. We want to test it, and we have it ready, and I showed you already.
Yeah, totally, which is beautiful. It's beautiful, by the way. It really is.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So yes, and we're starting small, testing with some people, and we'll converge with the app and the website in February.
Well, you know, at Soto Ventures, we're all about educating and inspiring entrepreneurship, as we were talking about. What are, let's say, 2 or 3 tips that you would give an individual who is looking to quit their corporate job here in Brazil and launch a startup? If you were to able to go back and think about, you know, your experience, what are 2 or 3 tips you would give them?
Well, first of all, it's not a rational decision. It never is. If you want to do that change, you try to rationalize it out, but it never closes. Like this formula doesn't close. Yeah, but I mean, we have heard it from a lot of people to search your happiness. So you just have to have the courage to jump off, and not exactly already having a project or anything like it was my story. It's really hard to try to build like a side business or anything, but just jump and search for your happiness, and that's it. I think it's the only tip I would give.
Got it. So search for your happiness.
Yeah.
What would be, from a product perspective, maybe one other tip?
Well, from a product side,
let's say building an MVP, something that you've learned, because we always learn these things, right?
So, I mean, I have my point of view, not being tech, and I really found it's just like building, building this building here.
Yeah.
You have the idea of the building that you want to have, and then you have to do the architecture of it, and then the design, and then comes the engineering, the part that you put the building up, and like thinking about these layers and how everybody fits in. I think it was good to think that way, not being from a tech perspective.
So really understanding, sitting down, being able to architect what the product was, and then start to think about the different pieces, the engineering pieces.
Yeah, think about it like in cycles.
Okay.
It is a cycle. I mean, it never stops. Even when you already have the product, you still have a lot of ideas that you have to put on, and comes the idea, and then you have to develop it in an architecture, and then you have to dress it in the design, and then you put out to the engineers. So I started thinking about that. It wasn't something that I learned very quickly. I thought in the beginning that I didn't need an architecture. It was a wrong move, but I really did need. I mean, you would never do a house without an architecture. Yeah. Well, I tried that.
Well, Pedro, thank you so much for joining us today. One thing that's for sure, everyone, is that entrepreneurship is fundamentally similar, irrespective of wherever you go in the world. So we encounter the same problems and challenges as entrepreneurs. So Pedro, thanks again.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
Pleasure.